Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Response Able Solution. I'm Stanley J. Targos III, and I'm your host. Today, I'm going to talk about a program that we've been working on for a while. It's called Smart Start. It's a financial foundation program that we really love the idea of rolling out and helping families, students, people who are getting started, people who are just learning about money and finances for the first time to understand exactly what it takes to have a solid financial foundation. Now, this is not an idea or a concept that we're going to talk to people about that shows you how to go on a diet, how not to go out to eat, how not to have lifestyle, how not to spend money, how to live way within your means so that you're a miser every time you turn around. It's really about helping people understand exactly what's required and what is needed as you're getting started. Now, you might be 35, 45, 55 years old and already have some of these basics down pat. You might have unconscious competence where you're doing it, but you can't understand exactly why you're doing it, how you're doing it, or even what you're doing. So let's get started. We've been in the financial world for 20 plus years. We've been helping families prepare and get ready to go to college for 15 of those years. We've been helping students who graduated understand how to manage their lives after graduation. And one of the biggest issues that we find people struggle with is no one taught them how to manage a budget, how to balance a checkbook, what to do when they get their first paycheck. People assume that you're going to Google it and you're going to get an answer. Well, the problem is if you Google money, you'll get 85 million hits or 120 million hits in 0.35 seconds. Where do you begin? No one starts at the beginning. People jump in the middle. We've done some other podcasts talking about how people are starting their financial future by building the roof. Well, who builds a house starting with the roof? You start with a basement and a foundation, and then you build up. And every floor you secure and you make sure that it's solid and it can be built upon. Starting out with a financial foundation is no different. And Smart Start is a great tool that we can walk families through, students through. People are graduating, and maybe you're getting your first paycheck for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, and you're like, "This is more money than I've ever made before. What do I do?" Well, after you spend the first 2, 3, 4 weeks having fun, you need to get serious. And that's what we're going to talk about. So, the first thing that we talk about, step one, is budgeting. And we talk about budgeting when we think of budgeting, it's not dieting. People think budget means I have to live within my means and I have to save everything that I make and I only get so much to live on. Well, listen, budgeting means how do you structure a monthly budget based on real cash flow? People make a budget based on what their annual salary is. So if you make 50,000, you start budgeting $4,150 a month, and you base your budget for your rent, for your car, for your food, for your travel on that number. Then you get your first paycheck and realize that Uncle Sam has a plan for your budget too, and he gets his money first. So we build our budget on real cash flow, meaning what are you taking home every week, every 2 weeks, or every month? Let's base our budget on that. Let's not base our budget on what we think we're taking home. Let's put a little bit of time between when you start getting paid, when you start making that money, and what actually hits your account. That's a much more realistic way to manage things. Now, we can help increase cash flow. We can help reduce expenses. We can make things work. When you're on a fixed budget, you don't have a lot of money coming in, budgeting is more relative and more important than when you have abundant cash flow. We talk about what is a fixed expense, a variable expense, what's an emotional expense. Why do we spend emotional money? Well, every once in a while, I need ice cream. The reality is sometimes I need ice cream 2 times a day because I have an emotional need. Now, that's not the healthy way to go. And I say that tongue in cheek and with a little bit of jest. But the truth is, there are things we need to do that emotionally keep us healthy. So, what do we budget and how do we plan when income is up and income is down? I always tell people that a W 2 person is the easiest person to manage a budget with because you know exactly what happens every time you get paid. 1099 salespeople, commissionable people, people who get bonuses, that's a little more challenging. But let's stick to the very easy basic. If you're a W 2 employee, you work 30, 40 hours a week, you know what you consistently get so long as you work that many hours. That's the goal. When you get your take home, they probably have taken health insurance, 401k, taxes out, maybe Maybe they take more, maybe they take less, maybe you have some control over it, maybe you don't. But how do you create a plan to stretch the resources when seasons are lean and when seasons are abundant and fruitful? How do you capture that so that you can be prepared for lean seasons? Listen, we understand that everybody's got a personal idea and goal, which is why I'm not going to tell everyone take 10% and put it in savings, 15% put it here. People tithe, people give to churches, people fund the retirement accounts, people might have kids, people might be coming off of not having a job for 6 weeks or 6 months. Each one of those circumstances requires a different strategy, which is why everything always has to be customized. But budgeting isn't dieting. Budgeting is being prepared for what life throws at you, whether you're in a lean season or a growth season. If you have opportunities that give you the ability to do more, we're not going to spend your future money till it comes in. Even then, we're not going to spend it. We're going to help you allocate it in ways that help you achieve the goals you want to achieve. So, that first piece of Smart Start is budgeting. The second piece is debt management. And we really can't manage debt until we know what the budget is. What a lot of people want to do is they want to flip those two and they want to manage debt and then live. Well, that doesn't work too well because when you spend all of your extra money on debt and life happens, you can't go back and acquire those dollars again. Say you've got a student loan for $15,000, $30,000, $100,000 and you get a tax refund for 10 grand. You put all 10 grand on that student loan and then your car goes. Can you go back to the student loan and get your 10 grand back? No, you can't. You need to plan the right amount to reduce the debt while you're taking care of the rest of what your life needs. Now, debt management is super important. Are you on an income driven plan if it's a student loan? Are you on a 10-year plan if it's a fixed expense? Do they have a timeline that they want you to pay it off in? Are you making interest only payments? Are you aggressively doubling the payment yourself, imposing a plan, which is better than no plan? So, do you have an idea, a goal, a timeline for when you want to be out of debt? And how can we help you manage that so that you can do it more efficiently? Is it just a credit card debt that you have? Is it a car loan? Is it a mortgage? Is it medical debt? Are you coming through a season where you just had some major things go on? I'm just coming through a 90-day window where I had 2 eye surgeries. Yeah, I'm missing a tooth. My kids had some medical expenses. We needed to buy something for the house. We needed to fix the driveway. There's like $15,000 or $18,000 in debt that was created in a 90-day window. After I just bought a house, put a down payment on a house, spent a bunch of cash fixing up the house, needing 2 new cars. So I'm in a season where debt's a requirement. It doesn't mean it has to define my joy or my contentment. You see, God gave me something special and unique. My contentment's in Him, not in my credit score, my debt ratio, my debt to income ratio, or my income. Now, I'm certainly aware that I need those things to live and survive, but they don't control me. What really sets me at ease is knowing that I have a plan that I can map out that shows me exactly when I'm out of debt. And as much as we've created $400,000 plus in debt in the last 6 months, I'm not going to be in debt till I'm 80. I've got a 9 to 11 year window to eliminate all the debt. And that's really the beauty of the program. I can have contentment if I see the end of the game, if I know when I'm out. I have discontent when I don't know when it's over, when I'm willy nilly making decisions and throwing money at things without a plan or a strategy, and then life happens and I compound the debt. So debt's important. Do you have a strategy that involves a snowball or an avalanche? Do you even know the difference between the two? Well, one's based on the balance of the loans, one's based on the interest rates. Which one's right for you? Well, mathematically, we can show you which one's right for you based on what your budget is and how we manage cash flow. So, budgeting, then eliminating debt. And we give you that personalized debt strategy so that you can eliminate the debt on your own. You can manage it, you can control it, it's flexible. We're not here to manage your life for you and micromanage every dollar that comes in. We're just here to make sure that you have a solid foundation so that as life happens, you're not a slave to the situation, so that you can respond, so that you have the ability to respond. Response able. solutions. That's what we're all about. Third thing is, what's your savings, emergency fund, and are you ready to buy that house, or did you just get a house and are you ready to get out of that mortgage debt? What financial events are coming up in your near-term future that you need to prepare for? Well, if you're just getting started, maybe you need to buy a car. Maybe you do want to buy a house. Maybe you want to stop renting. Maybe you're a little more seasoned and you have kids that are getting ready to go to college. Well, that could be like a mortgage payment every 4 years, depending on how many kids you have. The difference between a savings and an emergency fund? An emergency fund, in my definition, is something that's larger, that's built, that's added to, and the emergency fund needs to grow over time. The emergency fund that you have when you're 25 at $2,000 or $5,000 is not the same size emergency fund you need when you're 65. So, how do you build it at each stage of life? What's your savings account? How much money should be in your savings account? Should you have 50,000 in your savings account? Maybe, but really, savings account is what you need to manage in a 15 to 30-day window. It's not your 6-month lifestyle in case you lose your job. That's more the emergency fund. What are the things that are going to come across in a 30-day window that normally you'd have to handle? Tires on the car, $1,200. That's an excellent opportunity for savings. Replacing the transmission, $4,000. That's probably more of an emergency fund. What are you preparing for? What are you saving for? What's your goal? Do you have a wedding anniversary that you want to take your spouse on to Hawaii? 12 to 15 grand. Are you looking to get married? Do you need to buy a ring and pay for a wedding and buy a dress and spend $4,000 on a cake? I want to be invited to that wedding, especially if it's got cannoli filling in the middle. That sounds awesome. What's your goal? What are you saving for? So, budget, eliminate debt, with a strategy, and build a savings and an emergency fund and be prepared for the next event that life throws at you. The fourth thing is retirement. When should you start planning for retirement? Everyone says the person who saves $1,000 at age 23 outperforms the person who starts saving at 30. Well, that only assumes that you always only save $1,000 a year. What happens if you actually plan your budget and eliminate your debt and build your emergency fund and savings and then aggressively fund your retirement when the time is right? What if you're able to fund instead of $1,000 a year, 5 or 6,000 a year because you're not sending all the money out the door to debt? That person will outperform the 30-year-old even with compounding interest. The eighth wonder of the world, according to Einstein or something, right? So when should you fund your retirement? Should you be putting money into the 401k up to the match, above the match, maxing it out? Should you do a Roth? I don't know. I'm not a tax person. I'm not giving you tax advice. I'm not giving you investment advice. I'm not telling you what stocks, bonds, and mutual funds to buy. That's not my gig. My gig is to say, when's the right time for you to aggressively fund your retirement? And if you're getting ready to drop $250,000 on kids' education, should all your money be going to your 401k? Should all the money be sitting in equity in your home? You've got a big life expense happening, and all your money's tied up in two areas where you need to ask permission to have access to your money. That doesn't sound like a winning a solution or strategy to me. That sounds like an opportunity to compound pain, create stress, and anxiety. So, how are you funding your retirement? We certainly don't want to sacrifice tomorrow for today. We're not talking about being irresponsible. Don't go on vacation every year in lieu of funding your retirement. Well, I want to enjoy travel today, and when I'm older, I'm not going to be able to do it. No, that's the wrong thought process. You're going to live a long, happy, healthy life. And you need to have the money in place to take care of it. But it should be done in a way that benefits you today without sacrificing tomorrow. The flip side of that is people who sacrifice all their joy today to prepare for tomorrow. And that's when you hear the stories of, well, they retired in 2 years, 2 months later, they died. Well, yeah, that's a horrible thing to happen. I don't wish that on anybody. But if we balance the earning years with eliminating debt, with building a savings and emergency fund, and at the right time, aggressively funding that retirement, that sounds like a winning strategy. So, do you only listen to your CPA who says put as much money as you can in your 401k to get an annual tax refund? Maybe at certain times, but that shouldn't be your annual strategy. I mean, ask your CPA. At 24, 25, 30 years old, are you in a lower tax bracket than you're going to be at 45 or 60 or 70? I don't have a crystal ball, but traditionally, When you're making less income, you're in a lower tax bracket. Why would you put money in a tax deferred account when you're in the lowest tax bracket you're ever going to be in, especially aggressively? Just doesn't make a lot of sense. So that's the fourth one. So budget, debt, savings emergency fund, retirement. Step 5, who's on your team? You don't even know you need a team. Most people are like, what are you talking about? I don't have a team. I'm not playing pickup baseball. No, this is just your financial life and everything that's important for how hard you work every day. Yes, you need a team. Who does your home and auto insurance? Do you have renter's insurance? Do you have a will or a trust? Do you have a medical durable power of attorney? Do you have a CPA or a tax person? Do you have a bank or a 401k? Do you have a financial person? Do you have a college person? Do you have a counselor? Do you have a healthcare professional who's breathing life into you? Do you even know who you need on your team for the next season of life? Do you need an estate planning attorney at age 25? Maybe not. But do you need a medical and durable power of attorney? Absolutely. So who's on your team? When's the right time that person should be on your team? Do you have a loan officer that you're talking to if you don't own a house? Do you have a real estate person you're talking to if you don't own a house? How do you know what to be prepared for if you don't have people helping you set the stage and pave the path? That's what we do. We organize it in a way that's easy, it's understandable, it's palatable. You can implement it in baby steps. You don't have to eat the whole elephant in one sitting. And I wouldn't recommend eating elephants anyway. They taste horrible, especially the leathery ends. I'm kidding. I've never eaten an elephant. Don't plan on it. But I do know this. If I start at 25, 30, 35, or 40, and I do incremental steps, by the time I'm 65, I'm prepared. I know what to expect, and I know where to look. Do I need to have a social security strategy at 25, 35, or 50? Probably not. Do I need an unfunded healthcare plan or long-term care plan at 65 or 70? Yes. Should I buy it at 65 or 70? Probably can't afford it. When should you plan for that? Somewhere between 45 and 60. Who's helping people understand when they need what they need? And do you always get what you need, or do you get what you want? So I'd rather educate, share, and teach so that you know what you want and you work towards what you want instead of what other people impose on your life with their version of what you need. I don't like being told what to do. Neither do you. So let's have a great conversation, a one-on-one. Get with the person who invited you. Reach out. Let us help you put together a game plan that builds a foundation. Even if you're 55 years old and you just went through the ringer and you feel like you're in a tough place to get started, we can help with grace, with compassion, with security, and with kindness. It's what we do. It's what we love to do. I hope this helps. I hope this helps ask better questions, and I hope God blesses your journey. Have a great day.